Can I just complain about people
Right
right now?
but let's get this.
Oh,
Let's
oh.
get the show going.
You're watching Forget Being Cool.
Here we go.
This was pre-show talk. It's Forget Being Cool for April 15th, 2020. My name is David Moore. Joining me, of course, is my main man on the internet, Johnny _ Spaghetti Ravioli Xbox Series X Macaroni Casino.
So Dave, first of all, like the part where you say it's Forget Being Cool, blah blah blah. Like part of that, I don't think anyone who's listening to just the audio is going to hear because it sounded like you weren't really coming through like at the same time as I was bringing the music down.
Do you mean me to repeat it? It's Forget Being Cool for April 15th, 2020. My name is David Moore. Joining me, of course, is my main man on the internet, Johnny _ Spaghetti Ravioli Xbox Series X Casino. And I added macaroni in there somewhere, too. That's the thing that happened.
That's the thing that happened. Dave, so the weirdest thing happened recently.
Oh, yeah? There's people outside your window howling like dogs.
Yeah, and okay, so we were talking about this right before we hit record, that there are places where people are trying to do this togetherness thing by yelling out windows or singing out windows or whatever to feel like they're part of something. That is not how I want to feel like I'm a part of something, right? Like I would rather go to a park where everyone is 30 feet apart from each other, and I don't know, stare at each other, not saying a word,
What's
than
that?
to have people yell out a window.
It's that thing where you like throw string around and create like a spider web, and then like all the people hold it, and then somebody climbs on it. That's like a trust exercise. What's that? What if we just pretend to do that, like from a distance?
Okay, so we pretend to do that, and then the poor sucker whose job is it to like lay on it as a trust exercise is going to lose trust forever because they're just going to fall because the string is going to be imaginary.
Right, because if we were all touching it, we'd all get COVID-19.
Yeah, through the string.
Right. That's how it works.
Oh, that's so terrible. That's so terrible. So anyway, so yesterday,
The things we'll never do again, John. Shake hands. We do that weird spider trust exercise. Hug people ever again.
I think that's the worry that people have is like things are going to go back to quote normal, but the normal is going to be different. And their biggest fear is that the spider trust exercise will just never happen again.
Yep.
And people are shedding tears over this, screaming out, and fear of this happening. That's what the screams out there are for. They're basically saying, no, this spider trust exercise will never happen again.
I mean, I'm really hoping, John, that I get to like kick my feet up with somebody now or something weird. Like we do like kick high fives because we can't touch hands anymore. That's what I'm really hoping comes out of this.
Okay, if people started doing kick high fives as a normal thing, do you think shoe companies would start creating more shoes that look like gloves, like in the shape of hands, but bigger?
Yes, absolutely. Everybody's going to start wearing those toesies. What are those called? It's called toesies,
Oh,
right?
those are, I hate those with a passion.
Oh, me too, John.
It's funny because people were like, oh, these are going to help you run better and be better for you. And then all of a sudden, I think the research came out. They're like, oh, no, these are terrible for you. And off the market they went.
Oh, well, that because if you market something that's not true, and then people find out that it's not true, right? And clearly that fluctuates whether that matters or not. But if you tell people that shoes are really good for people and then they're not, like, then no one gives a crap about your stupid shoes because they were hideous.
Yeah, and they're stupid.
With. Yeah.
So on Monday, I was coming home from work. I had to work for just like an hour. And on the drive home, which is about an hour drive, I started getting text message from my stepdad. Now, I mentioned my stepdad in this last episode, last time we talked about the appendicitis stuff and all that. But I'll paint you a little picture of like my relationship with my stepdad. So like my mom and stepdad got married when I was 5, and I lived with them all but every other weekend, right? So every other weekend I would see my dad. So this is the man who basically raised me since I was 5. Like I have pretty much no memories before him, right? Like the funny enough. So here's the one memory I have before him that has him in it. That's before him. And I'm pretty sure this was before they got married. I knew they were dating. So we all went to the same church. That's how they knew each other. How my mom and his dad knew each other. And there was this big church play going on, talking about how you get into heaven, how it's not just good deeds, how you have to take the right steps. And so the way this play went was there was like the gates of heaven were on the stage of the church. And this was a very tiny church at the time. So my friends and I were in the very first pew, like right towards the middle in the first pew. So we were like as close to heaven's gates as you can possibly get being in the audience. And someone would come down and they would talk to St. Peter, I believe. I hope I'm not messing that up because I'd feel really foolish. And they talk to him and he would be like, oh, but you didn't do, and I don't want to get all religious or anything like that in this conversation, but like, you did not do this thing. You get into heaven, or you did. Oh, welcome to heaven. Well, when the person got told they weren't going to heaven, right, that meant they were going to hell, which obviously the person had to sound very distraught. And I think there might have been like a level of screaming or something that went on. And this wasn't supposed, I don't think this was supposed to be a scary thing. But then the Grim Reaper-ish character came out with the huge, like the black robe and the hood.
And the big long blade thing.
I don't think he had a
scythe.
One of those.
A scythe, right? That's the name of that weapon.
Yeah, that's the word. I don't think he had one of those. I could be wrong. This whole memory could be not completely true, right? It's been a long time.
Okay.
So the Grim Reaper looking guy would come out and take them and walk them down the middle of the pews, out the back door, and that would be them going off to hell. So who plays the Grim Reaper? That's right, my stepdad. And so there he is. He's got his big old beard. And I say big old beard. He doesn't have like a ZZ Top beard that hangs down or anything like that.
Damn.
But he's got nothing like that. But he just has this, this well done beard. And I think you might be able to see like the scar under his eye, maybe through like the shadows of it. And there's me at 5 years old or something like that, sitting there and seeing this. Now, once again, parts of this memory could be completely skewed. But like, I knew who he was, but it was still frightening to an extent. Right.
I mean,
so anyway,
yeah.
So this is my stepdad, right?
Okay.
Very much a big part of my upbringing, who I am. He was definitely the disciplinarian in the family, all that stuff. But he and I are pretty close. We don't talk all that often. We don't message all that often, especially now. So I get this text message from him. And it's a picture of one of those little tiny arcades, like the ones that are, 2 or 3 inches tall, like can basically be on a keychain.
Right.
And it says, mine has 152 games. And that's all it said. Something like that. 152, 158, something like that. And I'm like, I never told him I was making this arcade cabinet. Like, I did not tell him this. I was like, oh no. So then a little bit later, like I didn't have a chance to respond because I had to go pick up supplies at the hardware store on the way home. And a little bit later, I get this like message that's somewhere along the lines of, hey, thanks for making me sound like I weigh less than I do. I don't remember how he worded it, but that was the equivalent of it. I'm like, well, that confirms it. That confirms that he is listening to this.
That's good. That's why I share the show on Facebook. Hi, John, stepdad. I just wanted to let you know that I'm happy you're a listener. John might be concerned because he doesn't share his projects with anybody that he knows in real life. John does lots of podcasts. John, I've been doing this for a couple of years if you're just tuning in for the first time. Now, John, I took a 2-year break or something. It was ridiculous. But I've got an entire archive of John saying ridiculous things. If you would like those to be handed to you, please send me an email at forgetbeingcool@gmail.com.
Okay, I'm going to pause for a second and talk about people saying ridiculous things. Here's a good example.
So, as everybody's aware that Jeff and I are the funniest podcasters on the face of the planet. Not really. Yep. That never happened. John, yes. Don't cut that out.
Yeah. So, okay. Anyway, so then I get home, and I knew that my mom had called my wife while I was out because she had called her to thank her for this birthday package she'd put together. And so I walk in the door, and the first thing my wife says to me is, hey, your mom's listening to your show.
Oh, even better. Hi, John's mom.
So then there's that. So then earlier today, my wife and I were cooking,
Can I tell you something before you keep going?
What's that?
My dad knows I do this show. Okay.
Yeah.
And I've talked about my dad on several shows. He's listened to some of my shows, and he's like,
Okay.
"Yeah, I don't know what you guys are talking about half the time, so I just don't care." So,
Well, so apparently my mom's comment, and obviously I was not part of the conversation, so I might be misquoting her, but apparently my mom's comment was something along the lines of, "It's just them with banter back and forth," and it's like, "Yep, that's what this is.
Uh-huh.
This is that's exactly what this is. It's my time to talk with Dave about nothingness."
yeah, did you ask for more? No. That's what you get. If you don't like it, I don't know what to tell you.
So anyway,
You know, in these trying times we're in, these end times, I think hearing your son/stepson talk about anything would be a sense of joy and humor, whether we're talking about interesting things or things you guys care about. That's its own thing. But I don't know what your stepdad's into. I don't really want to ask that question. But
I mean, he's a computer guy. He's a computer guy. He's the one.
Well, then
so
he should
we're talking about these.
he should be fascinated with your arcade cabinet construction project.
He is. He messaged me a little bit about that, and I think he is finding it at least a cool project for me to be doing. But he's the one who, when I'm doing these projects and I get like kind of part of myself for things not looking how I want to, I look at it and I'm like, man, if Ronnie was making this, it would look so much nicer. Like, that's what goes through my head. Because he's a perfectionist, and because he's a perfectionist, like, he's the guy who not only measures 3 times and cuts once, but he measures 3 times, cuts once, and does it correctly, where I measure 3 times, cut once, and then look down and be like, how did I still screw this up?
You know, my dad cares when he's building something. He cares a lot, but he has my favorite quote he's ever said is, "That's Joe Moore level." When we're leveling something, or it's not just quite right, he's like, "That's Joe Moore.
No.
That's good enough." Like,
no.
And
no, that would not fly for Ronnie. Like,
in his
like,
defense,
nope.
In my dad's defense, it's usually pretty damn good, right? Like, it's usually correct. It's usually gonna hold up, but his confidence level, I think, is
hold on a second,
limited.
It's usually gonna hold up. He's like, I built this chair. Most of them you can sit in, but that one right there, you're gonna fall.
You know, I could tell this story, okay?
Okay.
During my childhood, we basically rebuilt the entire house that I lived in growing up. They added 2 rooms.
Okay, now is this the house that I came and saw the first time I visited?
No.
Okay.
Not that house.
Okay.
My childhood house, they added 2 rooms to the upstairs. They added a whole giant room out the back. Like a whole, like, super addition anyway. And at some point, while rebuilding the upstairs, they redid the whole roof. Now, my grandfather and my dad did that roof. Okay? Now, in what became the master bedroom for my parents was up there. While rebuilding the roof, they had to put in a support beam. Now, my dad's an architect, right? And my grandfather is extremely handy. But they put in this support beam right above my dad's bed that was supposed to hold basically the entire roof up. And when we left that house, when they sold the house, my dad said to my mom that every night he'd look up at that support beam and say, I don't know if that's gonna help. Now, it held for about 15 years that we lived there. So, you know, it clearly worked. It didn't end up being a mistake. But it was always in the back of his mind, like, that's not correct. Like, it's close, but it's not right. Anyway.
Yeah, I don't think that would have flown for Ronnie. I learned so much from him about doing different things, some electrical things, some computer things, some woodworking things. I learned all these things, but I try hard, And I want things so bad, but I get done, and that's seriously like that is the bar of which I judge myself when it comes to how good something turns out in the end. It's like, oh man, if he had made it, it would have looked better.
I want everything I do to look perfect. That doesn't mean it will. Like this.
Can I get that put on a shirt?
Yeah. What do you want? What do you want it to say? I want everything to look perfect, but it always won't. John's internet tonight is absolute garbage junk. And
it looks fine on my end.
That's good. You sound like you're on another planet on my end, but it's okay. It's definitely tolerable.
I don't get it. I don't understand it. So here's the thing. If it sounds great on my end and it doesn't sound good on your end, wouldn't that put the problem on your end?
No, it's your upload speed.
Oh, that's possible. That's possible. My upload speeds are garbage out here. I want them to lay fiber out here so I can get the fiber service that I want. But I have heard nothing about this. Obviously, so AT&T, I think it is put down like the fiber lines that are, I don't know if they were gigabyte fiber lines or whatever it was. Some super amazing fiber lines. They laid them out in my neighborhood, in my old house, like as I was moving away. So frustrating. So frustrating. Dave.
So back to the dog people outside your windows.
Yeah. Well, so this is what led to this. The dog people outside my window led to something else we were talking about beforehand. And you made the comment, and I need you to expand on this because I don't understand. You told me you were preparing to open windows.
Okay, John,
here's what I'm picturing. Hold on.
Okay.
What I'm picturing is like one of two things. Like either in the winter, you put all these things over your windows that don't allow them to open. And as it warms up, you have to start removing parts. Or you're like, okay, got to prepare. And then you just like unlock it. And you're like, oh, step one. And so the first step and last step are complete now.
John, let me explain to you something about Cleveland. Okay. Now, for about the last week, it's been like 55 to 65. It's been absolutely beautiful out. Sunshine, tiny bit of rain here and there. Nothing, no big deal. Okay. Now, the weather this upcoming weekend kind of started today. It's like 32 to 25 degrees with chances of snow in the middle of April. That's
bizarre.
That's probably going to happen. So like last week, there'd be, like during the day when the sun shines out and it's kind of warm out, you can open up the windows. So you're like preparing. You can open the windows, feels kind of good. Then at night, you got to reclose.
Wait, hold on. Is this a mental preparation?
No, this is like
a physical preparation.
It's both.
Okay, but explain the physical preparation of opening a window. Like I'm looking at my window right now, which is open because we've actually had some very nice weather. Oddly enough, had like a number of days without rain, which in this Seattle-ish area doesn't happen. But like to open my window, I flip the lock and slide it open. There's no preparation here, Dave.
No, but there's this constant back and forth right now of, can I turn the heat off? Can I open that window? Oh, I guess I got to close that window. It was really nice to have it open for 3 hours while it was nice out. But now I got to close it again. There's this everlasting buildup to the day that I can just leave the window open.
I see. I think you need to look up the word preparing in the dictionary so you can use it properly. But I get it. Oh, poor Dave.
John, I just want I just want the windows open. I'm about to be told to stay in my house for another 5 weeks or something. I'm sure that's going to happen. That doesn't really mean I get to stay in my house, but
yeah.
I would like that to mean like I can go in my backyard and enjoy the sunshine, because that makes it so much better.
Yeah. And you have a nice back porch and everything. Like,
yeah.
I don't have that. I have a driveway.
I refinished that porch like as the first project I did when I moved into this house. and I can sit out there and drink a beer and, watch the dog run around and smash all the flowers I don't care about. These are the things I want in my life.
Like in Animal Crossing when you just run through the flowers?
All the flowers are Rachel's in Animal Crossing. And I smash them all by accident all the time.
Dave, yesterday, I'm sure Rachel had to tell you, but I have to tell anyone who's listening. I did what I said I was going to do.
I'm aware.
I went to your island because there were like a cowboy hat and cowboy boots for sale. So Rachel messaged me. She's like, hey, they got this for sale if you want to come over and buy them. I'm like, yeah, I got to have my cowboy boots, right? That's what I wear a lot. And so I go over there. Before I did, I put like 12 or 13 stacks of 30 twigs like in my pockets. And I flew over there and I just randomly like dig a hole and bury some twigs. And I was trying to like lose her, like run around somewhere where she wouldn't be able to find me so that she wouldn't know that hole was that. But she found me and I couldn't get away from her. And I was very sad by this. I was very sad I couldn't get away. So I went over there, I bought some stuff, and then I buried some more things.
It's because my island.
And then I got out of there.
It's because my island is making progress, John.
Your island compared to mine, like the way it looks is beautiful. Like I cannot figure out how to terraform mine to make it look like anything that I care about. Like I don't know.
Oh, dude, I hate the terraforming. I think it's awful.
I think it's really cool. I just can't.
No.
I can't envision what I want.
I'm not trying to attack the coolness of it. It does not work well. It is complicated. It is finicky. It's awesome.
Not that complicated.
Yeah. All right, John. You try to make a pond that's the shape you want and tell me how that goes.
Okay, there are limitations, all right?
There are
but
dumb limitations. And I don't like it.
So whenever I left the island, I wanted to tell her thank you for allowing me to come over there and buy my cowboy hat and my cowboy boots, even though I'm still wearing the baseball cap with the headphones that you sent me, because that's going to be my primary thing. Which, by the way, I also got this soundboard looking thing, which is actually like a guitar pedal, but it's going to be my soundboard when I build my podcast room inside my house. But
can I just complain about the amount of gifts you're sending my woman, but not sending me anything at all?
Oh, the stuff would like to be cool for Dave. Then I would finding this. Like the stuff I'm sending her are stuff that I find useless, and it's just funny for me to send it to her. Like when I wanted to tell her thank you, I sent her 30 twigs, and I was like, thank you.
You cut out a bit. Like, you cut out a bit there, but I understood what you said. You want to send me cool stuff, and I don't.
Yes, I want to send you cool stuff, and I just haven't found anything that's cool that I don't need.
If you find a dryer, I need a dryer.
So Ryan has a washer, but I don't have a washer or a dryer. So,
I have a washer.
If I find more than one, I will.
I have a washer. I need a dryer.
Dave, can I give you the latest update on the arcade build?
Sure, John.
So I sent you a video, and I posted it on Twitter of the control stick working, like the buttons light up, all that stuff. I went through like 3 or 4 videos on YouTube trying to figure out how to get MAME to work properly, and apparently there's a bunch of different versions of it. And I finally found one that works, and I have to go through. If anyone out there can let me know the best way in any of these MAME programs to only see the games that you actually have, because it'll list 1,000 games that you don't actually have the ROMs for.
Yeah.
And I don't know why.
This is a problem. This is just a problem that I know exists. When you get to your RetroPie and install that, you're going to have a better time, I think, too.
Yeah. Well, and right now, so here's a few things I've run across. So I was able to just plug these joysticks into 2 different USB slots, and they just worked, which was amazing. Like I didn't have to do anything. Windows just took care of it. But then you have to go through and map it, right? Yeah. And so I finally figured out where I could go to like the master thing and map it. So up is always up, down's always down. Although when I push, like, it's like, all right, player 1 up, and I push the player 1 joystick up, it on the thing, it says it's like joystick 2 left. So apparently my joysticks are rotated 90 degrees, but it doesn't matter. It still works the same. So I go through all that, but every single game, for whatever reason, I could not universally map the coin button or the start button for anything. So every game I go into, the first time I go into it, I have to map a coin button and a start button. So
when you set up RetroPie,
yeah,
and when you boot it up for the first time with those sticks plugged in, it'll make you map each of those controllers easily. Like that's the first thing it's gonna make you do, and it's just gonna work theoretically.
Okay. Well, I'm planning on doing this. My goal is to basically get everything set up on my SD card as soon as it comes in. It's come in the next couple days, and then it'll just be sitting there. So when the actual Raspberry Pi comes in, I can just pop in the SD card, attach it to this key, the controller thing, and turn it on and go.
Right.
But we'll see how that goes. But so Ryan and I have been playing some old arcade games. So he played some Rampage, but I don't have the original Rampage. All I have is like Rampage World Tour, which is way too new looking for my liking of Rampage, but it's fun. We played The Simpsons. Ryan loves playing The Simpsons. Great game.
Because that game is great.
It is. It's absolutely fantastic. We played Merc, which he loved Merc. It's just one of those games where you're kind of the two of you, and it can actually go up to three, but I don't have three controllers. But the two of you is kind of like making your way up a field, shooting all the bad guys around. And it's nice because when you die, you just hit the coin button and start, and you come back in, like infinite continues type deal. So we did that. He played a few other games that he's absolutely loved. He's always like, Dad, can we play the arcade games? And I'm like, yeah, we can go play some arcade games. But
that's a good sign, although the coolness of it may wear off by the time you build the cabinet.
It might. Well, I don't know. We'll see. I'll still play it a lot. 'Cause there's a number of games, like single player games, that I want to play a lot more of, a lot of the older ones and stuff like that. And also, I made that decision to, instead of making just a arcade cabinet, I'm making it into a retro gaming shelf with the arcade stuff above it and the TV mounted on the wall, which I've realized, because some of these games are vertical, having it on a bigger TV will be so much better, because it looks very small on the TV that I was using, which would be the one that would be inside it. So
I almost want to build this as like an arcade table that just plugs in.
I thought about that. I thought about doing an arcade table.
Like, that's basically what I want, I think.
Now, okay, so how do TVs do when they're laid on their backs? Like, is that a problem with TVs?
Shouldn't be a problem. Not with an LED TV, it's not going to be a problem.
Okay. Because that would be really cool. Because then you could take a 40-inch TV, put it under there, and build a thing around it.
Have you ever gone to Quaker Steak and walked in and like looked down at the floor? They just have the TVs on the floor. Like back in the day, like this is way back, not now. They don't do this anymore. But some of them you'll go into have like the CRTs still in the floor.
But see, I don't know. I don't want to go into all the craziness about TVs and how they work, because I don't know the answers, but that would be really cool. And I definitely thought about that. The problem is at that point, if you get tired of using it very often as an arcade table, it just becomes a coffee table that's oversized, right?
Well, I almost want to build this too, where it's just a standing arcade controller that you just plug into the TV when you want to use it.
So basically what I'm doing with it.
Yeah, right. Basically what you're doing with it right now, yeah. Except it make it a little bit more like solid.
Portable
/ solid. Like I have this bar down here. You've been in my basement. I just want to shove it up against the side of the bar and then like basically turn it out and then be able to stand at it and play games on my TV. Now, right now I've got my drums, my electric drum kit that we haven't talked about yet in front of my TV, but that's a whole nother thing.
That's that's definitely have to be
We'll
discussed.
get there, John.
Well, so I've seen these builds that you can do where basically you just make a box that's just wide enough for it, and it's just a box. Like where mine is obviously going to be the shelf and everything, but this is just a box. It can't be hard. It can't be hard.
No, see, and that's almost what I feel like I should just do. Because every
should
time
do
I
it,
think,
Dave.
every time I think about the cabinet, I'm like, God, I really like a cabinet. I think, where am I gonna put that cabinet?
That's true. Like if I had a basement, which is weird. When we were moving back up to Washington, I'm like, we're gonna have a place with a basement. Of course we are. It's gonna be Washington because we've had a house up here that had like a pseudo basement. No, none of the houses we looked at that were like actually considered buying it all had basements. And I don't know if that's because basements are becoming a thing of the past in this area. But if I had a basement, I would want to put an actual looking arcade cabinet down there, with all the games on it. And then next to it would be a pinball machine, which would be an absolute money sink.
I did not have my retro refrigerator the last time you were here.
No.
I have this retro looking red fridge behind my bar now that's taking up
Nice.
the spot that I would probably put the cabinet in, but I'd rather have a refrigerator full of pop and beer down here than an arcade cabinet, I guess.
Oh, man.
It's more productive, plus it has a small freezer to freeze some extra stuff. And right now, it's kind of a good thing to have.
I saw one that was basically built on top of a kegerator, and I have a kegerator. The problem is, like the top of the kegerator on mine has the big spouts on it with the big handles. So I would have to remove those and have them, I don't know, coming off the side of the arcade thing. So you just like playing and reach over and pour a beer. But my brewery is not even up and going right now, which is a little disappointing. Yeah. I noticed something today, Dave.
Oh, yeah?
So have you been keeping up with other podcasts? Have you been still listening to, because your job hasn't changed that much. Your commute hasn't changed that much. I assume your podcast listening is the same.
You know what I listen to right now?
Yeah.
Morning Stream, because it's 5 days a week, because my Patreon, I get the 5th show a week, right?
Yeah.
So that's great. That I listen to pretty much every day. That usually gets me through my week. I've been listening to Office Ladies.
I need to start that. How is it? Are you a big Office fan?
I love The Office. Wait, I actually had basically they started that show, and I was like less than halfway through the last season. Like I was rewatching it on Netflix before it was supposed to leave Netflix. And I hadn't seen it in a long time. It felt like I couldn't remember much of it, so it was great to rewatch it. And then they're like, "We're doing an Office rewatch podcast. It's gonna be great." And I'm like, "I've only got like 6 episodes left, you guys. Like I just slammed through The Office, and it was great, but I'm not gonna rewatch the show, even though I just did, And
so I would say I've seen every episode in the first, I don't know, 2/3 of the show. Every episode, maybe 10 to 20 times.
Okay, if not at that point.
Right. And the later episodes I've seen less. And there's chunks of it in there that I've only seen maybe, like I'll run across an episode and I'll see it and be like, oh man, I've only seen this like once or twice. My wife has seen them a lot more. Like that is the show that when she's doing random stuff, it'll be on the background. When we go to sleep at night, we have a TV in the room and we'll put it on The Office and put the sleep timer on and go to sleep to The Office a lot of times. So I would not need to rewatch the show to listen to the podcast.
And I just rewatched the show, so pretty much every time they're talking about it, I remember it pretty clearly.
How is it? Like, how is the quality of the show? Because apparently they're good friends in real life. I think they met doing the show, and I cannot remember either of their names off the top of my head,
Jennifer
especially
Fisher
Angela's.
and Angela Kinsey.
Okay, yeah. So, ooh, look at you knowing names.
For the first time ever.
Tell me about Julia Roberts, why don't you?
I only know this, John, because I've been listening to it.
Yeah,
I think it's great.
Okay.
Now,
so that needs to go in my. While you're talking, I'm going to subscribe to this.
So I'm a podcast listener, John.
Me too.
As you are. I have talked to several people who are big fans of The Office, who I don't think listen to podcasts like the one we're doing right now, or a large range of podcasts. Like I think they listen to like professional NPR kind of stuff. And if it's not on that level of quality, I think they kind of scoff up at it. And they have this opinion that everything they talk about you already know, and the chit chat isn't great. Yet, as somebody who listens to a lot of podcasts like the one we're doing right now, I enjoy the chit chat. I think some of the funniest stuff is when they're not talking about The Office, right? And I like behind the scenes, like, here's how we shot this. Here's the kind of like, this was the setup kind of stuff. And as somebody who studied film, that's fascinating to me. So I think I'm in the demographic of people who enjoy this show more than some others who find it kind of boring and also not as interesting because they're like, I've watched The Office 50 times and I already know all this stuff because I read all the articles and watched all the behind the scenes and, you know, whatever. And I don't care about lady chit chat because I don't want to hear how Angela Kinsey says chunk it because, you know, that's the thing.
Dave.
Yes.
Dave, I just subscribed to it and started downloading all the episodes. There are so many episodes out already. And for weeks and weeks and weeks, I've been telling myself I want to get into this one.
I was legitimately
20 hours. Yeah.
I subscribed the second week. So the second episode they put out, I was subscribed. That's
smart.
And part of this is because I was watching The Office and this just came up as a thing. And I'm like, oh, I should definitely listen to this.
So
Office
I started
Ladies,
listening to a new one recently.
Office Ladies, Morning Stream, and I don't know why I listen to Game Explain Real Talk. I just enjoy those guys. I think they're funny. And I don't know. I listen to the Pokemon Go podcast still because, you know, that's a game I play.
So hold on. So there was a reason I was asking. There's actually something. Let me tell you something, Dave. Mm-hmm. All right. First of all, I'm downloading all those episodes. Secondly, and this popped in my head because you brought that one up, I've been listening to one called like Fake Doctors, Real Friends or something, like Fake Doctors, Real something. I don't know. It's basically the Scrubs version of that podcast you mentioned, right? So it's Donald Faison and Zach Braff talking through every episode of Scrubs.
Oh,
and they're only on like the third or fourth episode right now.
Oh, what's this called?
Look up Fake Doctors, Real, and I don't remember what the last word is. It's great. It gives some behind the scenes stuff. Blah 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 blah. It's fantastic.
Okay. Are you enjoying that?
Yes.
Then I think you'll like Office Ladies.
Yeah, but I also have like a bromance thing for Zach Braff. Like I just can't not. And Donald Faison's amazing. So I think that helps. Okay. Right? Like I love The Office. It's one of my favorite shows ever. But it's still not Scrubs, which might be my favorite sitcom ever. But I still think I'm going to love The Office one. But anyway, the whole reason I was asking about this is I've been listening to a number of them, and I got way behind because I'm not traveling, so I'm not listening to shows, going to work and whatever else. But I started driving to work again, and I have time to listen. And so I started catching up, and I started getting into the more recent episodes where it's during the lockdown, right?
Oh,
so you have some shows like The Morning Stream. So you have some shows like The Morning Stream that always do it remotely, and they sound fantastic and whatever else. And then you have these other shows that are from like these big ones that the show is basically the same, but obviously the audio quality is not as good because, you know, like some of the IGN ones I listen to every once in a while or whatever, where they're recording from their homes and they might not have the greatest stuff. But then I got to Jordan Jesse Go.
Have you watched any of the IGN videos lately? On YouTube?
I haven't. I haven't at all.
It is very weird.
Because is it showing them in like their Skype windows?
They're either in their Skype windows or they're shooting them like by themselves. Like they shot this in their living rooms. I kind of love it because it almost actually humanizes IGN a little bit more for me. which I know is kind of weird because I know they're all humans. Like, I get that, but
Yeah.
like,
I love this. I love this world where you're watching IGN videos and you're like, man, those robots are killing it out there. Like they're doing a great job. Or those CGIs are. Oh man, look at that CGI.
There's something I love about watching like The Office Ladies is another good example of this, where they record in a studio. They have like a sound engineer and 2 other people in charge of running their show, and all they do
Wouldn't that be amazing?
Right, but all they do is show up to this studio every time, record it 6 months in advance. So every show they're opening, they're like, we're trying to figure out how to record on Skype now, but we just wanted to thank you guys, and we wanted to remind you that we recorded this before quarantine and lockdown, and we don't really know what we're doing like this, but and it's just so nice to hear. Like, I wish that's what the show was to begin with. Like, I can't wait till their episodes where they are on lockdown and they're recording the entire episode remotely, and they don't have Sam as their audio engineer who can correct them and play clips for them and do all this stuff. And
yeah, because not everyone out there can do things like, let's see here.
But I've never touched a boy, and I want to so bad.
So not everyone can just play these clips out there like I can.
You know, that shirt is available at forgetbeingcool.com in the shop if you want the shirt that says I've never touched a boy. But I want to.
Oh my God. Does it really say all of that?
It says I've never touched a virtual. I think it's a virtual boy shirt. You should go look at it. It's pretty great.
Okay, I think I've seen that. Seen that.
It's one of the shirts I designed before I stopped making stuff.
So the Scrubs podcast, I guess it was supposed to be them in the same area. I don't know if it was going to be a studio or whatever. I mean, those two have access to things. But it was supposed to be them together recording, sitting there talking or whatever. And then obviously all this went down. So they're recording, like their first episode recording from home. But the audio sounds good. Like, I don't know if they're both recording their own halves, whatever it is. It sounds good. But it's funny because they talk about Donald Faison like recording in his closet because it's the only place that he can get somewhat quiet away from, his wife and 4 kids. Which is great. Once again, it humanizes them well. But the whole thing of this was I was listening to Jordan Jesse Go today. And for a show that normally sounds so amazing, and then all of a sudden you hear what it's like when they try to do it that way, and just like, it's still funny. Like, the show is still hilarious.
Right.
But you're just like, oh man, like, look what happens when you got to be like the rest of us schmucks.
Right. Now you have to record your show like Dave and John, where John's upload speed sucks.
Yeah. Dave,
yes.
We had a question. We had a question posed to us. So we've had a few people reach out and be like, "Oh, hey, I'm glad y'all are back. Thanks." Whatever. Maybe that's the total 6-7 people that are listening. Maybe there's thousands and thousands listening. I will leave it somewhere in between there.
To those of you who are listening again, we love you guys. I appreciate it.
So one particular person, Mr. Adam Leonard, reached out after apparently waking up listening to us one time, which had to be a creepy way to wake up. But the 3 of us kind of going back and forth a little bit, and he finally came out with like one backup question, because the first thing he talked about, I think we'll get into if we start getting into more serious related topics or whatever. But he did have a backup question at the end. Dave, I think you need to answer this question, because Adam wants to know, where'd my belly button go?
This is the kind of question that we need to call like some guy in the Bugman to figure out. Like,
they're not figuring things out anymore.
This is one of those jokes that's like not. I'm not smart enough of a comedian to write a good joke here, John. So
let's look at this. Let's think that maybe there's some truth to this. Maybe he has looked down and can no longer see his belly button.
I mean,
so there's some options here.
There's either obstacles in the way, right? Now, I hear when you get older, you gain some weight, you get these like these like breasts like things, even if you're a man. Now those
so your thought is that his man boobs are not only big enough, but also inward enough so that he can't see down his sternum to his belly button.
Look, based on every drawing of Adam I've ever seen, seems like he's a pretty slim guy. He's got a pretty slim look on his Twitter profile. I'm not saying
that's true, although he claims that he's not. So I don't know.
I've never hugged Adam in real life.
That's disappointing. I was so close to him not too long ago,
and you'll never hug him again.
Yeah, I know, because we're not going to be allowed to. Because the new hug is going to be what, butt bumps? I mean, what are we going to end on here as far as like what is the new hug? The new high five is slapping feet together.
Yeah. Look, I'm not saying that Adam gained so much weight. I'm just throwing it out as a possibility. I think Adam's a pretty slim, good-looking dude.
Okay, so I have some possibilities.
Okay.
He could be like me. Like, I hide it well. I am not in good shape. So maybe he's that way, and because of that, his belly is pooched out enough when he looks down at it that the belly button is kind of like on the other side of the slope, so he can't see it. So that's option one. So Adam, first step, hold your skin tight against you and see if the belly button's still there. Option two. Adam's a white guy. He's a pasty white guy. We'll say. I think he doesn't maybe go outside as much. He lives in Minnesota where it's cold and dark and doesn't get to go to the beach all the time, right? So he's probably pretty pasty, especially coming off of wintertime. I'm thinking, those white cheddar cheese balls?
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe like the cheese puff balls. I think maybe he's got one of those just stuck in it. It's just stuck in his belly button. So when he looks down, it just looks like it's part of his stomach. And that's why he can't see it. So my advice at that point is to reach down there and grab it and just eat it. And then you can see your belly button again.
I mean, that or he could let go of all reality and assume he's been abducted by aliens and they removed his belly button. And he could go in on that. That's always a possibility. You could believe that you've been abducted by aliens, claim to not have a belly button, build fake rocket ships to go up into space to prove that the Earth is flat. You could do the whole thing.
Do you think he possibly put on his PSVR and just forgot to take it off? And so when he's looking down, he's seeing the body of whatever character he's playing as?
That's also possible.
And therefore...
Now, what I'm concerned about is what his family looks like in PlayStation VR.
Do you think maybe it's a world where he just has forgotten about his family? I mean, I saw a picture of his son on Twitter today, so I guess he hasn't completely forgotten about him.
I mean, if he's taking a picture with his phone of his son in real life, but the VR helmet's on, that doesn't mean he saw his son. We saw his son. That proves to us he's still real.
Can you imagine, like, what you'd have to go through to be able to make that work? Like, you'd have to get your son to come into the room where the VR is, pose in the way you want to, hold the camera up without being able to see out there to get it right, and then somehow tweet the picture. By the way, if you're watching the video, this right here is how I tweet, right? Like, I type by wildly swinging my arms.
I thought that's how everybody typed.
Oh, yeah, it is. Dave, do you have anything else you wanted just to talk about? Anything happened lately?
No, I just wanted to make sure that Adam found his belly button. That's all I'm concerned about. I mean, I don't know what belly buttons are for. Like, I think they can open them up and like pull stuff out of your stomach or something. That's the thing that can be done. Can they like drain it? Is that a thing?
Drain your belly button?
Is that a thing they do?
I mean, the reason you have a belly button is because that's like the port at which you are connected to your mother, before you were born.
Yeah, but why don't we like close it off? Why do we need it?
It is closed off. So, okay, hold on a second. Now, we obviously need to have a conversation about this, Dave. So your belly button is not currently open. Like, that's how it kind of closes itself off when the doctor, puts a little clothespin on it. Now, tie your belly button. Like, okay, I understand you don't have kids, but they don't. They sit there. They have the umbilical cord. They have the dad snip it up near the mom. So you saw like however long an umbilical cord is, and he's like whips it into this giant knot and ties it tight. No, that's not how it works. Like, they put these like little clip on it, and then it just falls off and it does what it does.
You say this, John, but I've never experienced it.
Okay, well, you have when you were a baby. You just don't remember. Um, yes, they could make a belly button go away, but it would require plastic surgery. And I think can you imagine if you're like, and I'm sure someone out there has done this. I'm sure there's someone out there who's paid for plastic surgery just to have their belly button removed. But can you imagine how weird they are? Like how weird they look when you see them at the beach? Like, can you imagine if you see this person, you're like, that's a nice looking person, whether it's a guy or a girl, whatever. You're like, that's a well put together, nice looking person. Oh God, where'd their belly button go?
I don't know, John. I don't find myself staring at belly buttons at the beach. Usually,
but you would notice. Like you would notice if it was just this flat slab with no little belly. I think it's just something that maybe you might not notice the first time, but like
I feel like it would take me a minute. Like it'd be one of those things where you like look at a person, you're like, "Did you get a haircut?
Something's off."
Yeah. Like
no, I had my belly button removed, of course.
Like, I feel like that's more likely how that goes down, Jen.
Oh, that's definitely possible. Dave, if you don't have anything else, I have something we can do that I can apologize for before and after.
Okay. Apologize.
I have another quiz for you, Dave.
Okay. Is this one? Do I hate to poop?
No. No, it's not. No, this is one because you brought up the fact that every once in a while I converse with your girlfriend.
And send her gifts on Animal
right
Crossing.
now,
I never get anything from John and Animal Crossing. I never get mail.
Okay, look, I'm not going to pay my 200 hard-earned bells just to say hi when I can text you.
I mean,
I will
you could
do it to
send
play
me
a joke of sending these like. Send you a what?
You could send me anything. You could send me, I don't know, cool stuff you find.
This is the problem, is I haven't found any cool stuff yet. Like, I need to find these duplicates of cool things, and I will definitely be sending you things. I sent her those Russian stacking dolls because I was like, these things are creepy. And then after I told her she had a creepy doll in her house, she sent me one. I rearranged my workshop room, and that creepy doll is now with its face, like, against the wall in the corner.
Do you like the message that came with that one?
Yeah.
I helped with that message.
Nice. Okay, so speaking of her, we're going to see if this quiz can get this right. And it says, can we guess your relationship status based on your grocery shopping you do?
Okay.
So I need you to pick some ice cream, chocolate, vanilla, or strawberry.
Chocolate.
I'm about to say, this should not be that difficult of a question.
Look, I'd pick strawberry. But I'd tell you what she'd buy, which is chocolate.
Well, no, I want to know what you're going to buy. You're picking this. You're going grocery shopping.
If I'm going to...
She sends you out.
Okay, all right. If I get sent out to buy ice cream, and those are my three choices, and I'm shopping for the entire household, meaning the two of us, I'm probably gonna buy vanilla because I like strawberry the best. She likes chocolate the best.
And so you'd be like, here's something we both hate equally.
Here's something
and we can both be miserable together.
Here's something we both like reasonably well.
Okay, and she can always put chocolate syrup all over hers like I do. Then again, I do that to any ice cream.
Okay.
Thanks, Mom. I got that from my mom.
Hi, Mom.
So pick some pizza to eat. Pepperoni pizza, cheese pizza, or supreme pizza?
Pepperoni pizza.
Pepperoni pizza. Pick some bread. Cinnamon raisin bread, wheat bread, or white bread?
It's a stupid question. Wheat bread, I guess.
Okay, wheat bread.
This quiz has officially gotten stupid.
Oh, yeah, because it wasn't to begin with. Choose a type of pasta: spaghetti, fettuccine alfredo, pasta salad.
Spaghetti. I'm sorry.
By the way,
the last one.
Pasta salad is amazing.
Yeah,
I love pasta. If I was going to pick one of those, pasta salad for sure.
I'm not going to eat any of these
things.
These are three things that I don't like.
So cereal, Honey Nut Cheerios, Special K with red berries, or Cocoa Pebbles.
What are we, 80? I'm sorry, it was Cocoa Pebbles and something else, and then the one thing that didn't matter.
Cocoa Pebbles and Honey Nut Cheerios are the ones you might choose from.
I probably you add Reese's Puffs in there. I'm gonna pick Reese's Puffs.
Okay, but that's not an option, Dave. You
Right.
gotta pick from
Right,
the
but
options I give you.
Cocoa Puffs aren't as good. So Honey Nut Cheerios.
Okay. Jesus. Choose a type of shellfish. Lobster, shrimp, oysters. I don't like shellfish.
I don't like shellfish.
What is wrong with
Take
you? You
care
also
of,
don't
take
like
care,
anything. That is,
take
that
care
is
of your
something
shellfish.
Hold on. That is something that her and I do talk about, is how, like, you don't like anything.
You're right. Everybody who listens to this show thinks I just don't like video games.
No, it's everything.
This goes on. This list goes further.
Pick a vegetable. Broccoli, sweet potato, eggplant.
Sweet potato.
Okay. Choose a type of rice. Brown, white, or I don't like rice.
Brown rice.
Brown sticky rice. Choose a fruit. Avocado, grapes, bananas. I did not know avocado was a fruit, and I probably should have, but I didn't realize that.
Grapes and what else?
Avocado, grapes, bananas.
And bananas.
Well, it says you're taken.
Yes, that's good because I am.
Oh, I really hope that everyone listening to this, especially just the audio version, had us on like 2x speed during that. Man, if someone out there is listening and has an idea of some differently stupid but still just as stupid way for me to like end every show, please let me know, because like this amuses me, but it's bad. Like it's just bad.
Man, I want some ice cream now.
We made Dole Whip a couple days ago. You know about Dole Whip? Yes? No?
No, don't know what this is.
Okay, so Dole Whip is from the Dole Plantation. So one place you get it's a big Dole Plantation in Hawaii. But you can also get it at Disneyland, Disney World, maybe both. I'm not sure. But it's like only a few places you can get. And I think they're slightly expanding now, but for the most part, that's only 2 places you can get it. Well, I guess either Dole or Disney, one of them like put the recipe for it out there for everyone to have, because no one can go to these places right now and get it.
I saw this. I don't know what it is, but I saw
it's
that they did
like
this.
A pineapple. So consistency maybe of like
Cool
God.
Cool Whip.
No.
Ready Whip.
It's no, nothing like that. Ready Whip and Cool Whip are just 2 brands of the same thing. Like it is the exact same thing. No, so it's almost like a milkshake, but maybe not as thick.
Ooh,
it's pineapple.
This
flavored.
sounds really good. I love pineapple stuff like this.
Yeah, so try it out. It's just frozen pineapples, pineapple juice, and vanilla ice cream. That's all it goes into. We made it. It wasn't quite right. We also didn't measure out certain things super well, and we tried to make a bigger thing than it calls for. So anyway, Dave, that's my Dole Whip update.
Okay. Guys, this has been Forget Being Cool for April 15th, 2020. I'm Dave Moore. We're back because of the current state of the world, and I just want to thank everybody out there for listening to our show. I mean it. It's a big deal. It's good to be back. It's good to be doing this again. We have a new logo for this podcast, because now it's a podcast on a website that's full of other shows that eventually I'll edit and hopefully put up. I made the list of posts I need to make for the shows. I'll probably never get to this. I'll never have the free time, because I started doing a show 3 times a week with John. Hi, John.
Hi, Dave.
But if you want our new logo on a shirt, it's available at the Forget Being Cool shop at forgetbeingcool.com. Just click on the shop button. You don't have to do that, but it does support us. I mostly just put it up there because we had the logo. But you could go get that Virtual Boy shirt. That's a pretty funny shirt. John's like, for the love of God, Dave, take us out of here. We need that clip of T-Boss. Take us out of here, Dave. John remembers that. Got to remember that.
I don't.
T-Boss, he had 2 voices that were like at the same time going, and I used to produce his show for him, and he would go, "Take me out of here, Dave."
Oh, yeah. You used it for something.
Anyway, guys, thanks for subscribing. If you enjoyed this, go to the YouTube channel, Forget Being Cool. Hit that subscribe button and click the bell. Get notified. Thanks to all of you guys who've gotten our watch time up a lot. Thank you to the one person who unsubscribed from the YouTube channel this week. That's our subscriber change. I really do appreciate that a lot. And follow John at Johnny_Casino. Me at Tell You Dave. And this has been Forget Being Cool. We'll see you guys on Friday for another episode where John and I will just goof off. Bye, John's stepdad and his mom and his entire family who's listening now.
I hit
and,
stop.
And I'm going to send them this directly. I know that your stepdad's name is Ronnie. So hi, Ronnie. And John's mom, whose name I don't know. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Dave, I already hit stop. I tried to catch it when you were
I'm
ending
still
the show.
recording. I can put this up this way. They're probably watching the video version on Facebook.
For more great discussions, hit that subscribe button or visit forgetbeingcool.com.